This is a photo of my bedroom. In the corner is the desk my husband works virtually from. Instead of the day including getting up and out the door, going to the gym, and then heading into work, walking from his truck to his office, perhaps stopping off at the cafeteria for a bite, and working 7 to 5 with lots of movement, including meeting with others in different areas of the company he works for. These days, he spends 20 hours a day in our bedroom, 12 hours here, at this desk. He still works 7 to 5, and then attends online classes from 5:30 to 7:30, 3 nights a week. He literally moves from the bed to this chair and stays there all day long. Our daughters have a similar setup and schedule as well. This is our new reality.
Hi, my name is Jessica Carey. In addition to all the other adjustments that we're making during the pandemic, mask wearing, social distancing, virtual learning, one of the things that's not being talked about very much is the toll that being tethered to our desks is taking on our bodies. I think this toll is going to last long beyond the pandemic. Muscle tension is caused when muscles stay in a static or fixed position for too long. Stretch breaks, otherwise known as micro breaks or active breaks, can help break up that muscle tension. Taking a stretch break has multiple scientific benefits. It can improve flexibility, relieve tension, boost energy, and improve your posture. So let's take a look at some of the stretches that you can do within a stretch break right here at your workstation. All right, so we're gonna come into our lateral stretch. I'm gonna take my fingers and interlace them, extending my arms over my head. And we can do this right at our desk, lifting up towards the ceiling. I'm gonna tip it over to one side, lengthening the side line. And as we do this, take a nice deep breath in. And then I can come back to the center and switch sides, tip it over to the opposite side. One thing that you want to be aware of as you're doing the lateral stretch is that you're taking your hands back behind you. So make sure that you don't drop your arms and your hands forward in front of you. Taking that breath in, holding that stretch, and then coming back to the center. You can go ahead and repeat that if you want to on both sides. We can do a forearm stretch by placing the palms of the hands together, and we want to put the heels of the hands together as well. Pressing gently one hand into the other. I'm just going to slowly lower my hands down the front of my body just until I feel a bit of tension. Taking a breath or two, and then releasing it. To stretch our hands, we're going to extend our arms out in front of us, and I'd like you to spread your fingers open wide, almost like you're making the number 5 with your hands. From here, let's go ahead and make a fist, opening and closing your hands. You can hold, taking a couple of breaths, or you can go ahead and open and close, pumping your hands. Seated on your desk chair, go ahead and take one leg in and just draw the knee in towards your chest. And we're going to sit up nice and tall as we do this. And I have my hands placed on my hamstrings. I'm going to hold that for about a count of 5, taking a couple of breaths, and then releasing it, lowering that foot down to the floor, opposite leg, drawing the knee in, and then lowering it down. Sitting on the edge of your office chair, go ahead and walk your feet open a little bit, firmly placed on the floor. I'm going to take my left hand and I'm going to reach it towards my right ankle or my right foot. I can even rest that hand on my lower leg. With my right hand, I'm going to go ahead and extend and reach it up towards the ceiling. Now, if you want to, you can look towards your right hand, but if that bothers your neck at all, just look straight ahead. Breathing into the stretch, releasing it, coming back to the center, rolling it upright, peeling it up, And switching sides, opposite hand to opposite leg. Extending the hands toward the ceiling. Pausing in the stretch for a moment. To stretch out the chest, go ahead and just take your hands behind your skull. Draw your elbows back behind you, sitting up nice and tall. Pinch the shoulder blades towards each other. Take a couple of breaths in this posture, and then release. In order to stretch out the hip, we're going to take one leg and cross it over the other leg, resting the lower leg or the ankle just above the knee, somewhere on the thigh. I'm going to sit up nice and tall and just rest my hands on the leg that's crossed over. It's almost like making the number 4 with your lower body. And from here, if you want to get a little bit of a deeper stretch, you could just hinge forward slightly. So just tipping your torso, keeping the integrity of the spine, and just leaning forward. Even just slightly, you'll feel that stretch deeper into the hip. Taking a couple of breaths, holding, and then going ahead to switch sides. Opposite foot finds the floor, crossing the ankle over the thigh, sitting up tall, and perhaps hinging forward slightly. Holding that stretch, and then releasing it. To do spinal twist, I'm going to take one hand and just drop it behind me, resting it on my chair, either the back of the chair or the seat of the chair. And my opposite hand, I'm going to go ahead and just rest on my thigh, just taking my fingertips and wrapping them over the edge of my thigh. I'm going to inhale, sit up nice and tall, and begin to turn my torso, dropping one shoulder back behind me and one shoulder forward in front of me towards my desk. You can look straight ahead or you can look back behind you. If that bothers your neck at all, just go ahead and look straight ahead rather than looking behind you. To switch sides, I'm just going to go ahead and change my hand positions. Drop the opposite shoulder back behind me. And coming back to center, spinal twist. This next stretch is going to stretch out my triceps, and I'm going to use my desk for it. So I'm going to slide my chair back behind me, and I'm sitting on the edge of my chair, and I've got my elbows placed on the desk. I'm going to place the palms of my hands together, and I'm going to lower my forehead down towards my desk, and I'm going to slowly start to bring my hands towards the crown of my head. Breathing into the back, tricep, the chest, and then releasing it. Coming onto hands and knees on the floor, or if you have a yoga mat accessible to you, go ahead and use that. I'm just going to take a deep breath in and soften my abdomen, coming into cow pose, tilting my tailbone up to the sky, and then as I exhale, rounding the back, coming into cat pose, tucking the chin in towards the chest, and contracting the core. Rolling in and out of these two postures, cow pose and cat pose. Once again, starting in tabletop position. This time we're going to do a hip flexor stretch and strengthen option. So I'm going to take my right foot and I'm going to walk it out in front of me, and I'm just going to make sure that my right knee is stacked over my right ankle, and I also want to make sure that my left hip is in front of my left knee behind me. And I'm going to shift my body weight into my front foot, keeping a tall spine and lengthened, and I'm going to stretch out the hip flexor and the quadricep, which is so important when we're in a seated position all day. Optionally, if you want to strengthen the hip flexor and quadricep, you can go ahead and engage, pressing down through the top of your foot and lifting perhaps that back knee off your yoga mat. Pausing here. And then when you're ready, after a couple of breaths, we'll go ahead and switch sides. Opposite foot comes forward, stacking the knee over the ankle, shifting and perhaps even lifting. So we just completed 11 different stretches throughout the body. So how about a few tips to help you incorporate this into your workday? First of all, you don't have to do all 11 stretches at once. Do a couple at a time. Another tip would be to set your phone for an alarm mode or a reminder mode so that you're reminded to incorporate these stretches. So maybe twice a day or 3 times a day, your phone can remind you to start doing some stretches. Remember to stretch to the point of mild tension, not pain. And once you're in the stretch, hold it for a few breaths. Make sure that you're breathing into the stretch. Thanks so much for joining me. And don't forget to practice your self-care. I'm Jessica Carey.